This video is brought to you by...
Don't ever let them put you in a box. Don't ever let them predict your next move. And most of all, don't ever stop motivating them. Cool green clothing, top of the line men's beard oil, coming soon. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way. And that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube, fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Let's get right into the story. One thing the streets are going to do is talk. If you have ever been outside or hung on a block, you know if you want to hear about who is beefing with who got jammed up last night, who getting the most money, you don't even have to search for if you come from a certain environment. Even the old lady sitting on the porch knows what's going on because the information comes to you. But the streets can also be messy and spread false information. It's a lot of men and women gone or sitting in a cell over rumors or he said, she said. It's law. If you choose to step off the porch into the street life, you gotta know certain things just don't fly. Rule number 1, if the police come around looking for information, you don't know nothing and you didn't see nothing. With some people, it's not even like, oh, I'm built like that, so I'm not telling. It's the fear of what comes with having that on your jacket. A snitch allegation can cost you your life. That's why when the trenches say, yo, a rat, or he in paperwork, it's important to know for a fact that's true. Because once you put that word on somebody, a lot of times, there's no coming back. And you could have signed their death certificate. Some people jump into the streets and bite off more than they can chew and don't realize the pressures of the game and how that environment is unforgiving. And one mistake could be fatal. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll be discussing a case of an exotic dancer that lost her life after being accused of playing both sides of the fence. All the way back in 2010, 25-year-old Cherry Gammon was navigating life in Baltimore. Described as being friendly, a good person that would give you the shirt off her back and loved her family. Cherry was trying to make a way for herself and her kids, and wish she had a son and daughter. Still young and not really having time to go the traditional route, she chose to become a stripper or exotic dancer in the famous area of Baltimore called the Block. The Block was the place to be at one time, where all the clubs, bars, dancers, and trappers in the city could be found at. So Cherry, being a people's person, easily started making good money and got into the mix. She worked at the Pussycat Club, right across from Norma Jean's. But also in the area, it was a lot more than dancing going on. See, Baltimore has always been considered an open-air drug market. So one of the best places to put a pack at back then was somewhere you knew tourists would flock to and people who needed to get out the gate before work would feel comfortable coming to cop from, and that was the Block. One organization in particular had a big presence down there in the area. At that time, a 22-year-old man named Dante Baker, a 23-year-old man named Gary Cromartie, another 30-year-old man named Tyrone Jonigan, and the brains of the operation, Dante's mother, at the time, 42-year-old Monica McCants. The squad would purchase product, both smack and girl, recruit the dancers to help get the word out or take the packs to the club to sell for them and bring the split back. For Cherry, the business relationship could help her make more money to take care of her kids because even when the club was slow, trapping on the block was good and Dante and the team were jamming. At first, the situation seemed ideal, even though Cherry herself had demons she was fighting. Minus the money, being involved with the crew helped her stay well, feeding herself some of the product so she would never be ill or dope sick to keep dancing. But things would take a turn around about late 2010. Around about October, members of the crew started to get jammed up. And up until that point, they went under the radar with no problems. They started feeling like the police was always one step ahead of them. And as it started affecting the money they was making, the organization felt it was a snitch in a circle. Their suspicion really grew when Dante's mother, Monica, got jammed up, when BPD walked straight up to her while she was in a carryout and placed her under arrest. Dante and the rest of the team started thinking who was the newest person on the team and thought about Cherry. It didn't make the situation any better that the young lady was involved in a romantic relationship with a Baltimore City police officer that often visited the club. The streets were now accusing Cherry of being an informant, even though her police friend told her don't worry. An officer actually saw Monica hit a cell in a carryout, and that's how she was arrested. But now, Cherry had another issue. She was given a pack of about 10 pills she was supposed to sell at the club, but she ended up doing a product, so now she owed the crew $100. Gary, nicknamed Miami, had a more personal relationship with Cherry. He told her, "You messing up, baby girl. You gotta shake back and work that money off." But Monica, still in custody, spoke to her son Dante from a jail phone. As he explained Cherry owed money, she told him, "You know what you gotta do. Take her in the back of the building, smack that B, and tell her she gotta work that off." But now, it was more worries as the mother and son felt she was also telling. As a few more members of the crew got jammed up as well. Dante and the whole team already had pending cases for possession, distribution, even gun charges. So they felt BPD was using Cherry to build a bigger case, maybe even working with the feds. As it seemed, Cherry was now in too deep, and her excuse, somebody stole the drugs out of her work locker, wasn't flying with the crew. Monica came home on a box not too long after. Then on December 12th, 2010, it seemed the organization had made a decision. Gary, Dante, and Tyrone pulled up to Cherry's home in the early morning hours and told her, "You know what time it is. Come on, shorty." As she got in the car, they asked her about the pack and the police she was dealing with. She denied being a snitch and agreed she would make the pack money back. But as the car pulled up to Leon Day Park in West Baltimore, the men told Cherry to get out. As the woman told them they didn't have to hurt her, she would make the situation right. Not long after, multiple shots went off before the vehicle fled the scene. Neighbors reported shots fired in the area. When BPD responded to the location, they noticed a woman stumbling around, holding her chest. She was shot 5 times. She was rushed to a local hospital, but unfortunately, she wouldn't survive her injuries. She was later identified as Cherry. As BPD was familiar with the young lady and where she worked at, they instantly went to the block. They started asking questions and talking to other dancers. They told them Cherry was worried because she owed the crew money. That's when police determined the crew they was all talking about was led by mother and son. Police went to speak to Dante, who admitted he knew Cherry by her stage name, Chloe, and he had been hanging on the block since the early 2000s, but he didn't know the young lady was hit. But as months went by and other members of the crew began to talk, as the pressure came, also the streets, this led police to get a warrant for Dante's phone records. They tracked his location from the area of Cherry's home to the block to the park, then back to his mother's house on Emerson Avenue. It showed the last person Cherry called was Dante, and also he disconnected his phone service the following day after the hit. After putting pressure on Miss Monica, she allegedly told police all 3 of the men, her son, Gary, and Tyrone, came to her home after the fact, and that Tyrone admitted to shooting Cherry 5 times in the chest. She would agree to testify in court for leniency. All 3 of the men were picked up and charged with first-degree hit. As police talked to Gary, he admitted Cherry was his baby, but his loyalty was with the crew, and she broke the street code. He stated after they shot her, they took the gun to Tyrone's baby mother house, but the weapon was never found. As the case got closer to trial, the feds stepped in, and it seemed police had helped them build a case on the organization, accusing them of running a $14,000 a week drug empire, using strippers and hitters on the block, selling coke and smack. In the crowded courthouse with witnesses testifying, including dancers, Dante and Gary knew they were cooked from the beginning. Gary took a deal of 30 years in prison. Dante 40 years. Ms. Monica received a life sentence of 10 years. She was released in February 2023. Tyrone decided to go all the way and go to trial, being pointed to as the shooter, but with the statements and other evidence, he was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. It was never no information released whether or not Cherry was cooperating or not. Most that knew her felt she wouldn't have did that, and she lost her life over $100. Rest in peace to Cherry. I send my prayers and condolences to her family. I'm going to leave this one open for discussion. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the situation in the comments. One thing that stood out to me though, Monica was worried about Cherry cooperating, but when the pressure hit, she broke. That's ironic. Yeah, man, rest in peace, that young lady. Like I said, I send my prayers to her family. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the situation. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This another episode of the Baltimore Way. This your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.